What up, Lo Meng? I'm Leon, the Paperback Maniac, and I am here tonight to bring you guys Mailbox Horrors Part 10. Yes, I've actually made 10 of these. Cannot believe it. Got a lot of cool things to show you guys tonight, so why don't we get right to it? All right, the first book I am so happy about of receiving. This is The Mailman by Bentley Little. I do have to give a shout out to my buddy David Dodd, who hit me up. Really cool guy who has a massive collection of his own, I presume, and he knew that I was looking for this title because this is quite rare. This is the first printing of this book, put out by Onyx, as watchers of my channel will know, is one of my favorite imprints. And I had heard about this book, but it is just so elusive. I had never seen it for sale anywhere, and he contacted me and let me know that he could get it for me, and I really appreciate that. So thank you, David. Yes, The Mailman. I've actually not read any Bentley Little, so I figured, this will be a great one to start with. I believe this is his first novel, too. Could be mistaken, but yeah, I've heard good things about the book, and it's an Onyx edition with a pretty cool cover, so definitely pumped for this one, and yeah, really good condition as well, so I was really happy to receive that. All right, next up, we've got another one that I'm pretty excited about. This is Covenant at Coldwater by John Osier. And I have to give a shout out to my buddy Chris, my Facebook friend, who contacted me and hooked it up with this one. For whatever reason, though, when he told me that he had this book, for some reason I had this mixed up with Cold Moon Over Babylon by Michael McDowell. That's what I thought he was talking about and what I thought I was getting. I don't know why I just had that in mind. And then I realized that, this is not, at first I thought John Osier was maybe another pen name of Michael McDowell's, but then I realized, no, this is a totally different book with a totally different author. And that makes me excited because I'm not really too familiar with this one, but if Chris recommends it, I am really excited because he's got great taste, very similar to my own. So yeah, looking forward to checking out this one, not Cold Moon. See, I did it again. Covenant at Coldwater. Jesus, got to get it right. It's totally. All right, and I got to thank Chris again for alerting me to this book. This is amazing. He just recently told me about this, and then he recently posted a review of it on the Facebook group Books of Horror. Crooked Tree. This is by Robert C. Wilson, and this is the first paperback edition published by Berkeley in 1981. It was released in hardcover the year before that. Yeah, I mean, when he told me about this and showed me the cover, I was like, damn, I have to have this. Unfortunately, his review did not make it sound as good as the cover, but then again, what is? Okay, so first of all, guys, you got the die cut, and then feast your eyes on this. I mean, is that not just the most perfect thing ever? I mean, that's just incredible. I absolutely love that. Yeah, I mean, worth it for the cover alone. But these kinds of books are fun. This is pretty cool. All right, next up, we've got Death Dreams by William Katz. This book was put out by Warner in 1987. I just cannot get enough of those Warner books from the 80s. They just put out they had some of the best covers, just really good artwork. This one is not that good, but they do have some good ones. In fact, I've shown another book William Katz put out by Warner that had, I think, what is it, Visions of Terror? I don't know. It had a really cool cover. But yeah, these Warner books are pretty neat. All right, next up, we've got Satan's Manor by Mark Andrews. And this book was put out by Leisure. This is the 1982 reprint. I was a little disappointed when I ordered this one. I thought I was going to get the original paperback edition from Leisure from 1977, which has a much cooler cover. But this one is in really good condition, so I'm pretty happy about that. But it sounds pretty fun. Yeah, and you cannot go wrong with early Leisure because those books are freaking outrageous. Okay, next up, this is a great one for the season. We've got Without Warning by Fern Michaels. Fern Michaels was actually the pseudonym of the authors Roberta Anderson and Mary, probably butchering this, Kuxker. I showed another book of Fern Michaels called Panda Bear is Critical that has one of the most amazing titles and a great cover. This one, that is just fantastic, right? This came out from Pocket in 1981. I hear it's kind of more of a thriller than a horror book, but sounds fun. Sounds fun to me. Would probably be a good book to read this month, actually. All right, next up, we've got a classic from the 70s. This is Incubus by Ray Russell. The Blu-ray of this recently came out from Vinegar Syndrome, and I copped that, and it's just such an amazing film. I think one of the stronger horror films from the early 80s, and so I figured, yeah, it would be cool to have the book on which it is based, although I know that it's quite different because apparently they changed the story and the script, they kind of changed it at the last minute. So probably different, but yeah, sounds fun. And the first of two actually sort of demon rape books I'm about to show you. Incidentally, both having film adaptations that came out in 1982. The second one is The Entity, written by Frank DeFilletta. And this book was published by Warner Books in 1979. And this is another book that was adapted into a very good film from 1982, another demon rape movie. But I figured this one, and I really like 70s horror novels. For one thing, they are written. They're usually written at a very high. They're just of a high caliber. Like they're just written really, really well. Like the prose is usually much better than anything that came after, like in the 80s and 90s. And I'm sure this is probably no exception. So yeah, looking forward to reading The Entity. Great film. Speaking of movies, another one that I got, here we got The Amityville Horror 2 by John G. Jones. This book was published by Warner Books in 1982, and that was the year of the Amityville 2, The Possession, the film, which I thought actually, when I ordered this, I thought that this was the book that movie was based on. I recently saw that movie for the first time, and what a batshit crazy, just sleazy ass movie. Really, for some reason I've avoided the Amityville films for a long time. I just, they just didn't really like interest me, I guess, and the books too, and the fact that these books are purported to be real, not fiction. I mean, that's just like total bullshit. But I figured, okay, I'll read this as just enjoy it as a novel, a work of fiction, which is what it is, But apparently, this is not the film. The Amityville 2 is not based on this book. It's based on another book. There's like dozens of Amityville books, but this one nonetheless has a pretty cool die cut cover and pretty amazing step back cover art. That's pretty cool. Yeah. All right, next up we've got The Freak by Eleanor Robinson. This is another book from Leisure. This one came out in 1985. And book has terrible reviews online, but I figured, what the hell? I do love me some Leisure. I love me some 80s Leisure, and I figured cool cover, and there could be some fun to be had there. All right, I'm flat out kind of embarrassed about this next one. I would never be caught in public with this at all. But we've got The Vampire Odyssey by Scott Sensen. This book, another book by Leisure, put out in 1992, and it gets even more cringy. Oh yeah, that that's interesting. This book, I actually ordered this a while back, and I couldn't tell you what I was thinking. However, it's a pretty, I've heard it's a pretty grisly, pretty, just trashy, obviously, just incredibly trashy and gory vampire novel put out by Leisure. And, and I like it's like an LA tale. I like stories set in LA, and I figured, why not? It could be fun. Who knows when I'll read this. But, some good old trashy Leisure fun from the 90s, early 90s. Do worse than that, I guess. Okay, 2 more here. The next book, this is a really, really cool cover. The Sight by Melisande March. This is another Leisure book that was published in 1988. I hear that this is not so much a horror novel. It's another one of those ones probably with misleading cover art, but pretty striking cover art nonetheless. Yeah, looks pretty interesting. So who knows? The last book, guys, this is probably the best cover. This is one that I saw on Twitter a while back. Ron Clinton, who's probably got a collection that will dwarf mine. Just serious, like really serious and awesome collector. He posted a picture of this, and when I saw that, I was like, that is one of the most gorgeous things I've ever seen. This is Wild Blood by Nancy A. Collins, the Stoker Award winner of Sunglasses After Dark, a book which I've had for a long time and which I hope to read sometime soon. That was an Onyx book. This one, I was not familiar with this. Apparently she also wrote a werewolf book, but just the colors in that thing are just incredible. I love it so much. And this is, of course, the British edition. Of course, this is, another example of the British editions just being way, way cooler and more aesthetically pleasing than the American editions. This came out, this was put out by New English Library in 1993. So an example, great example of some, early 90s just awesome horror artwork, and I'm hoping the book will be fun. It does sound pretty fun. So, yep, that's about it, guys. Hope you enjoyed watching it. I know that I had a little bit of a pause there. I hadn't recorded anything in a while. I apologize. It's just been like pretty busy. My brother got married recently, and then we went on. For whatever reason, his wife or her family decided they're going to do like a family cruise after the wedding instead of like a regular honeymoon. So I was convinced to go, and so I spent like a week out on this cruise ship over Thanksgiving. It was interesting. I got to say, probably the most interesting thing was reading Edward Lee on my Kindle on a beach in Cabo. That was definitely interesting. A strange thing, but yeah, I'm back now, and hopefully we'll be doing more videos more frequently. I'm definitely going to get a book review out soon, like within the week. So be on the lookout for that. And thanks for watching, as always. Got a number of new subscribers recently. Thank you for everyone who's been subscribing and who's been watching the videos. It means a lot. I will see you guys again soon. Take it easy. Peace out.